Humanity was a pest on the galaxy. They spread their species to every unclaimed, resource-rich planet they can get their hands on. But they aren't even that strong, and their tech is nothing special. And yet, when someone declared war on humanity, half the galaxy came to their defense. "You need to keep your head below the viewport." The mechanical voice had none of the intonation or beauty of the ringing harp strings the Arasukai sang with, but human ears could not make out the finer details of their speech. Sliding my back down the frigid metal hull, I pulled my rifle close to my chest, peeling back the shutter to check on its reserves. Unsurprisingly, having not even flicked off the safety once, it was at full capacity. "Have you ever considered a career in music? I'm sure millions of humans would pay just to listen to you read out your shopping list." The slender figure contorted. Through small, conical holes forming along its neckline, the damp violet strings were just visible, running in all directions like a web. Our cold bunker filled with song that would put humanity's most talented artists to shame, only to be translated seconds later by the polished steel cylinder perched on the soft shoulder. "I was unaware that humanity valued music." "Are you not taught about us in school? Sukuni's history and biology are mandatory subjects here." My speech tended to fall flat, not requiring any translation for the higher being to understand. Does my voice sound like a different genre of music to them, or is it more irritating like boots walking on gravel? One by one, the holes on the creature's neck narrowed as its form stretched thin. It was one of the only similarities I could note between us. Just before firing a shot, they would empty their lungs and hold their focus on the horizon. Unbefitting of a piece of molten metal flying kilometers over the battlefield, their rifle emitted a sound no louder than a child clicking their fingers. As its form filled out with air once more, the vocal holes expanded. Human culture is optional. It is for interest, not necessity. Even the once beautiful song sounded cold uttering those words. My grip tightening on the polished wooden stock pressed against my knees, I forced a smile across my face and replied, "Could you tell me what is necessary to know about us, then?" "I apologize if I have offended you. That was not my intention." A soft hand extended from the slender torso and draped itself comfortingly over my shoulder. "May I tell you a story instead?" I nodded, laying back and closing my eyes. The first time this happened, I woke up to defibrillator panels being removed from my chest. Ever since then, beads of sweat would form on the back of my neck before falling under. The warmth of the hand on my shoulder spread down my arm and over my back, enveloping me until there was no distinction to where I began, and the creature's arm sat, pulling me into the dream. The first sense to return was smell. Damp soil and exotic plants filled my nostrils and tickled the back of my nose. I would have been boiling in my fatigues, but a loose shirt and summer shorts clung to my skin in the humidity. When I could finally see light pouring in through my eyelids, I opened them to a squint and took in my surroundings. "The biodome," I muttered under my breath. "You were only 10 years old, but had such a fascination with xenocultures that your father took the trip with you 2 moons away to see the exhibition." Here in the dream, Sukuni's just sounded like a beautiful and seductive voice with no need for bulky translator units. "How much do you remember about this day?" In the distance, I saw a flaxen-haired youth dragging his exhausted parent from metallic-leaved trees to explosively sprouting berry bushes, eyes glassed over with wonder. "Almost every plant, names and all." I let the nostalgia wash over me like gently lapping waves on the shore as the boy preened and knelt to get as close to the exhibits as possible. Ever curious, he pulled on the uniform of one of the gardeners there. "What am I doing?" I asked. "If you don't remember, then watch." "Sorry about him, he just has too many questions." My father tried to explain, leading the boy away by the arm. "First question is free," the gardener joked, sliding off her gloves and crouching down. "What do you want to know, young man?" "Why did you catch all those?" he asked, pointing to the small plastic container buzzing with insect life in her trolley. Grinning, she beckoned him in closer, sharing the secret in a low whisper. "Would you believe I am actually here to release them in the dome?" The boy was dumbstruck. He didn't even know what question to probe her with next. Luckily, the gardener was clearly familiar with this reaction. Reaching into the trolley, she carefully lowered the pot down to the ground. "You see the little ones with the red thorax?" She pointed with a long and delicate finger. "They might look tiny, but they eat wasp eggs. Brave devils, I call them. Their actual name is something long and boring in Latin." "Do they not eat bees' eggs too? Without bees, how would the plants continue to thrive here?" "Someone has done their homework." She tousled the tangle of hair on the boy's head. "Nope, They don't touch anything but wasp eggs. They also don't reproduce too quickly, so once they've done their job, we don't then have to get another type of insect in the cleanup them. What about the other insects in there? I've never seen one with 8 wings like that before. A sudden crack shook my senses. The familiar smell of smoke and grease overlapped with the tropical biome. I was keenly aware of the cold metal plate against my back. Several finger-clicking shots rang out before all went quiet. "You can stay here for a while longer," my guide advised me. "I have everything under control outside."